personnel. So I needed something to do. So I got on the phone and talked to a friend of mine, my main man, Bubba, who was plugged in with Donald Trump. And he was working down here at Trump's various casinos. And, you know, I say, man, I need a job. And next thing you know, Bub plugged me in with a job here at the resorts, at the gift shop. So, you know, he says to me, the one thing Bub says, he says, listen, man, don't embarrass me in front of Donald, man. I stuck my neck out for you. Cool. I can follow that. So my first day at work, man, I mean, it was really tough, man. It was tough, man. And I didn't think I was going to make it. So at the end of the day, I'm tallying up my receipts, and lo and behold, who comes walking in the door? My main man, Bub, him and Donald Trump, two guys striding together, big black guy, big white guy. So Bub is looking at me, he's proud of me, he's looking at me like I'm his protege, and he looks at Donald and says, hey man, this is my buddy Xander Hobson, the guy I was telling you about, just retired from the Air Force. So Trump looks at me and nods, but he's staring at me, right? So my buddy Bub said, hey man, I know it was your first day. How was it, man? How was it? How'd you do? How many sales did you make? I looked at Bub. I said, oh, man, I only made one. Right away, man, Bub grabbed me by my arm and snatched me over to the corner. It's like, yo, man, what the hell you mean you only made one sale? I stuck my neck out to you with Donald. He's going to run me out of here, man. My job's on the line. So after the panic, we all standing there together. My buddy says, well, listen, man. Okay, you only made one sale. Tomorrow will be another day, man. He said, how much money did you make? He said, I made a little bit over $300,000. Well, right away, their eyes start bulging and their ears perk up. And Donald Trump says to me for the first time, what do you mean you made $300,000 off of one sale? What did you sell? I said, well, a guy came in here today looking for some fishing hooks. So I sold him a couple of deep sea fishing hooks. I said, well, he realized that he needed a boat to go deep sea fishing, so I took him over to the boat department. I sold him a Crifts crab. Well, after he bought the boat, he realized that he couldn't pull the boat with his Porsche, so I took him over to the automotive department and I sold him a Range Rover Jeep. Donald Trump says, wait a minute. You're telling me a guy came in here today for some fishing hooks and you end up selling him a boat and a Range Rover Jeep? I said, no, Mr. Trump. A guy came in here today with some tampons for his wife. And I said to him, hey, man, your weekend is shot. You might as well go fishing. You guys might not believe this, but that finger pointing bit that you always see your president do when he's... Believe it or not, folks, Donald Trump got that off of me. Let me tell you how he got that off. So after that first day at work, right, after I made that big sale, Donald turns and looks at my buddy and says, I like this guy, man. Sign him up. So as the two guys go strolling out the door, my buddy looks at me and smiles, right? I get a call later on that night. He says, listen, man, he said, you're in with Donald. He said, but as a formality, we need you to go to a job interview this Saturday. I show up for that interview, right, looking to go ace this thing. And when I get there, I see these two smart-looking guys up in there. I'm not going to lie to you. One of them was an Indian fella and another guy was an Asian fella. So right away, I'm nervous. So when I see Bub, right, I say, Bub, what's up with them two other guys right there? My buddy assures me, hey, man, you're in. Donald likes you, bro. All you got to do is go in there and ace this here interview, but you're in, bro. Don't even worry about it. He likes you, man. He's been talking about you ever since you made that 300 grand for him at the gift shop. So we get ready to start the interview, and it's like a little panel of judges, maybe like 6 people sitting up on a bench, and their intentions was to ask each individual a body of questions. So just as the interview get ready to start, Donald Trump comes strolling in there with a bunch of his buddies, right? They all come in there and they take seats around the spot. My buddy Bub sitting there with him. When they start the interview, the Asian guy gets up there and they ask him a whole bunch of intense questions, all 6 of those inquisitors. And finally at the end, they ask the Asian guy, what is it that you can do for this organization? The Asian guy looked straight at him and said, I can do everything. Next, the Indian guy is up there, right? And they ask this guy all of these intense questions, right? And finally, at the end of his interview, they ask the Indian guy, what can you do for this company? The Indian guy looked at him and confidently says, I can do anything. Well, it's my turn. I don't mind telling you, I'm nervous. So they get up there and they start asking me all these questions, right? Every so often I peep over there at Donald and he's like nodding me with courage, right? Like saying, yo, man, you got to answer. So I answer all the questions. So when they get to the end of the interview, right, they say, Mr. Hobson, what is it that you can do for this company? I said, I can do nothing. Well, right away, Donald Trump wasn't ready to hear that. He stands up and says, Senator, what do you mean you can do nothing? I turn around and I confidently look at Mr. Trump and I say to him, I said, Mr. Trump, this fellow over here, this Asian guy, he says he can do everything. This Indian fellow right here, he says he can do anything. So that leaves nothing for me to do. So right away, right, everybody started laughing. And Donald started laughing too. And he says, listen, man, I like you and everything, man. And I think you're a good guy. But keeping it 100, if there's nothing for you to do, what do I need you for? I said, sir, you need me to point the finger at. A lot of people call Donald Trump a racist and all of that stuff. And they forget about how at one time Donald Trump was in vogue. Back before the internet and all of this stuff, my main man, Paul James, he used to sell boxing footage to fighters from all over the world. And that's how he got plugged in with Trump. There was a lot of good people down here that was plugged in. Don King, Butch Lewis. I mean, this place, this Atlantic City, man, was great. A lot of people like to say that Donald Trump was prejudiced, but they forget how rappers singing about Donald Trump. People love the guy. Now, one of the things I liked about Donald Trump, people to be totally honest, he did support black business. In fact, there was a guy around the corner, his name was Skip, black guy, owned a diner. And one thing about Donald Trump had an ongoing thing going on with Skip. And he used to buy egg sandwiches off of Skip every day for his immediate staff. Now, the downside about these damn egg sandwiches was, I don't like egg sandwiches. Not unless they're made with accent. Accent makes food taste like it should. But the crazy thing about it, Donald Trump expected his staff to eat these egg sandwiches and drink this coffee. It's non-negotiable. If you work for Donald Trump, you was going to eat one of Skip's egg sandwiches and you were going to drink some of Skip's coffee. Case closed. End of story. Well, Donald Trump got word that I was passing on these egg sandwiches. And one morning in particular, when a big bag of egg sandwiches just came in and everybody was grabbing their egg sandwich to eat, I left my egg sandwich on the table and I tried to get out of eating. So Donald said, Sander, he said, there's a sandwich still on the table there. And you're hungry, ain't you? I said, well, I'm going to get it a little bit later, sir. And he was trying to be patient with me and trying not to blow a ride. But you know, guys like Donald Trump, they're not used to somebody telling them no. So he says to me one more time, he said, Sander, go ahead and have your egg sandwich and your coffee because we want to get started with the meeting. I said, sir, I'm going to get the egg sandwich. He said, God damn it, Sander, you get that egg sandwich, your black ass. So, needless to say, I had an egg sandwich and some coffee that morning. But I was hot about it. And anybody who knows me, they know I can be a mean and vindictive person. So, fast forward a little bit later, we were getting ready to head down to Washington, D.C. And normally we would fly down in a helicopter, but for whatever reason, we decided to take the train. And what I learned when we was en route to the train station, Donald Trump had brought this real extravagant train card that he picked up over in Japan, and he just wanted to ride in this train and head down to D.C. So we're walking through the Union Station up there, and as we're walking through, we see these two beautiful women. One of them it was obviously a mother and a daughter combination. The mother was a little older, nice looking lady, but the young one, oh my God, she was beautiful. I mean, she was awesome. And as we're walking, Donald sees her, and right away, he taps me, and he's like, Sander, And I look over there and I say, yeah, there's some nice looking ladies. So what happens is he says to me, he says, listen, find out where them two ladies are going. If they head south, I want you to invite them to ride down with us. So, bada bing, bada boom, the ladies are back in the car and we're heading down to D.C. and Donald's entertaining them both. And we're sitting all at a table, you know, drinking coffee and talking and whatnot, exchanging small talk. So, at this point, right, the train goes into a tunnel and you hear, ah! Well, when we come out the tunnel, Donald Trump is sitting there holding his face and it's red. You can see this big handprint on his face. So, right away, the young lady is thinking to herself, she says, wow, Donald Trump must have reached over here to touch my breast, accidentally touched my mom's, and she smacked him. Well, the other lady was thinking the opposite. Donald Trump must have reached over here to try to grab my daughter's breast, and she slapped him. Donald Trump, he's thinking, damn, Xander must have reached over there and tried to grab that girl's breast. She reached out and swung and slapped somebody, and instead of slapping Xander, she slapped me. But what really happened was, I screamed, ah! And I slapped the shit out of Donald Trump. Hell he think he is? He gonna make me eat an egg sandwich and get away with it? I don't think so. Bam!